Hello, good morning. How are you today? Um, I want to talk about feeding your fishes, sizes, your fish size and feed size. We'll try to see whether we can take it from the fingerling stage. You know, size to feed your fish, the how many times to feed your fish in a day, and so on and so forth. What I do here in my farm is basically my style, and when I give out this style to people, it's not supposed to be something cast on marble. It's my style. So you take it, or you leave it, or you take it and then create your own model on how to handle your farm. I like to, start my fingerlings with, I like to start my fingerlings with 0.8. Now, in most farms, they'll give their fingerlings 1.5. Fingerlings can actually pick 1.5 mm, but I like to start my fingerlings with 0.8. The reason is because these fishes, they when they pick lesser feed, they take it more and then digest it faster, and then pick more like that, and it helps their growth. But what I do is that I do not allow the giving of lesser size of feed to stretch. So I do it for, say, like 1 week. Let me give an example. Say like I start my fingerlings with 0.8 instead of 1.5, and I do that for, say, about 1 week, and then I go straight over to the 1.5. But by that 1 week's time, they would have been, say, post or close to post fingerlings. Now, even the 1.5 that I'm giving them at that time, post fingerlings, they'll soon cross over to 2 mm when they get to juvenile or post juvenile. Okay, so after the fingerling stage, you have the post fingerlings. Post fingerlings, you can give them 1.5. I give my here in my farm, I give them 1.2 to 1.5. Okay, now the fingerlings, let's go back to the fingerlings. How many times do I feed them? I feed them 4 times. Now, in some farms, they can feed them twice. I feed in my farm 4 times, 4 hourly. Now, when it comes to the post fingerlings, I feed the post fingerlings 1.2 to 1.5 instead of just 1.5 straight. Like I said, some people want to feed 1.5 and so on and so forth, but I feed 1.2 to 1.5. And then when they get to, now I still feed them 4 times, 4 hourly when they're post fingerlings. Now when they get to juvenile, the juvenile stage, I begin to feed them from post fingerlings you get to the juvenile stage. When they get to the juvenile stage, I begin to feed them 1.5 for the juvenile stage. Now this is where some people would like to feed 2 mm, but I will feed 1.5 for at least 1 week. Now what I do, the system I use is to stretch at least for 1 week lesser feed. Now the reason why I stretch lesser feed when they're higher than the normal feed is simply because in the lesser feeds you have more nutrients, and it's more nutritious to them and makes them grow much better. But if you stretch it too long, it's going to affect you, financially. So I stretch it for like 1 week. I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what I do. So we go back, juvenile, I give them 1.5. Normally some people give 2 mm, but I give 1.5. You know, my normal pattern, I do 1.5 for the juvenile for 1 week, and then I start again. I give them 2 mm. Now at this stage, when they get to 2 mm, they must have started getting into post juvenile. Okay, now normally post juvenile you give them 2 mm, but I give them 1.5 for 1 week and then get into the normal 2 mm. Now at post juvenile stage, I begin to feed them 3 times a day. 3 times a day. Now 3 times a day because you know, at this stage they begin to retain food in their stomach more. So I give them 3 times a day, and then after post juvenile they get into jumbo stage. At this jumbo stage, I begin to give my fishes 2 mm. I give them 2 mm for 1 week, and then I stretch out when they get into the after jumbo stage. You know, there they get into about 300 grams and all that. Then I begin to give them 4 mm. But at this time, I begin to give them twice a day. Though some people want to give once a day, but I give them twice a day at this time. Okay. Now after this time, they get into maybe 300 and 400 grams. At 300 or 400 grams, I begin to feed them once a day, and feed them well. You know, once a day, they get very satisfied. You know, and I stop. And at this stage, 300 grams, I begin to give them 4 mm. 4 mm until they get to about 600 grams. When they get to about 600 grams, then I switch into 6 mm, and it's still 1 time a day. You know, so this is the method of feeding that I use in my farm. I think it will help any farmer, but like I said, it's not cast on marble. It's not something that is not a doctrine. So you can take it or leave it, or use it to create a model for your own farm. My name is Greg, and subscribe to this YouTube channel so that each time I drop something like this, you can be the first to benefit from it. Thank you for following me. Thank you for listening. Bye now.